Ice is ready, and we've got an emergency Eastern Conference playoff bracket breakdown. The playoffs are set. Crazy things happened last night, and we are off to the races.
So many scenarios playing out. You made a great post about it, and we got possibly the craziest scenario. Not who got in, just the way it all went down. Caps, Flyers tied, 2 minutes left. Red Wings dead. Dead.
Hey,
No. In that moment, there's 7 seconds left. Icing. Reimer stood on his head, and somehow they're still losing. Ozone draw, which honestly, dude, that I don't even know. That icing gets waved off in any other moment. Like the Wings slowed down to make that an icing, and the refs were like, this would be cool. Icing. Larkin kind of wins the draw, like falls down, but like gets enough of it. Someone knocks it back. Great play on the blue line there to get it over to Spronger, like backhand, forehand, spin around. Spronger, absolute 1T, or
Perron.
not Spronger, Perron. Absolute
Old man
rip,
Perron.
1T, 3 seconds left. Bedlam. Then, as that happens, the Flyers don't know, and Torts would have pulled the goalie anyway, and I think he should have pulled the goalie, so I don't care about that, but Torts pulls the goalie to try to get his boys the regulation win, which they needed. They felt like they needed.
No, they needed it. Everyone needs to stop saying it didn't matter. Yes, they wouldn't have got in, but no matter what, the only thing that should matter to them is them.
Winning in regulation. Yeah.
How do you guys get into the playoffs? Win in regulation.
Yep.
F everything else.
Yep.
So they made the right move for them. Like, the only argument here is, oh, well, Detroit is headed to overtime, so it doesn't matter. Them going like, F our game plan then. All that does is actively help Detroit.
Yeah.
And we'd be having the same conversation now. Like, if they didn't pull the goalie, people would be like, dude, kind of wild that Torts didn't pull the goalie when they needed a regulation, when he was actively being like this. Here's a chance, Detroit. So it's like they stuck to their game plan. Everyone get the f off Torts' back.
Agree. So they pull their goalie. Oshie scores. Caps in because they get the win no matter what. And then, meanwhile, the Bees, asleep at the switch, dump their last 2 games by forgetting to shoot the puck for 60 minutes.
Bad losses, dude.
And the Panthers,
to inferior teams.
The Panthers come back from down 2-0, I think.
Yep.
Pump the Leafs and finish first in the Atlantic, where I think I had them at the start of the season. Took them 82 games, but ho-hum. How are ya, dude? Good job.
Yep.
So let's get into it, bro. We did this last year. We're going to do this emergency ep is all the Eastern Conference matchups. We're waiting for the West to get set. Next emergency drop is going to be the Western Conference matchups. Are you ready?
I am ready. I do want to say quickly, because I love and respect them, I was so wrong about the Panthers.
Yeah.
I think I said they were going to finish 3rd or 4th. I think 3rd. And I just thought they'd have a bit of a cup hangover.
Actually,
They did not.
I think -1. I'm pretty sure I said they were going to finish 2nd, now that I think about it.
Are you
I'm
sure?
pretty sure I said the Leafs were going to be 1.
Oh, you did say that.
And the Panthers, because of their injury bug, were going to start slow and then get all the way back up to 2. And they got all the way back to 1.
I'm going to give you credit on that. You also got Kachuk coming back to life. You get no -1. I'm taking that away.
Thank you. Even.
You're an
even. Okay, Dan. And we're going to go Atlantic, top to bottom.
Yeah.
Matt, top to bottom. The first series is the Panthers versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. Battle of Florida again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not again, but Battle of Florida.
Yeah.
We're going to count down from 3, and you're going to
Okay.
say who you think's going to win and in how many games. Do you need to think about it, or do you know?
I got it.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Cats
Panthers in
6.
6. Wow.
Yeah.
I almost went 7 here because I think this is by a country mile the biggest dogfight in the first round. Certainly the East. Maybe even the first round altogether.
Yeah. I got a hot take for you.
Oh,
I think Tampa would have beat every single team in the East in the first round except Florida.
literally me too.
I
Rangers is a tricky one, but I honestly think they had a bit at it.
And you know, I'm on the Rangers.
Yep.
I've got money on the Rangers.
Yep.
I was sweating out my butt crack thinking about that possible.
Yep.
If the Rangers got Tampa, I was about to be like, are you kidding? Like, this Rangers team coming alive the way they have, if they drew Tampa, I was going to die.
It's honestly a nightmare for the Bolts.
It is.
Like the
the Bolts have been.
I'm so pissed at Boston if I'm Tampa right now. I'm like, are you fucking idiots. I was about
Agree.
to pump you full of lead
Agree.
in the first round, and now I have to go home.
Yeah, I really think they were sitting in that first wild card spot so comfortably. They were like, what? They just similar to Vegas. Like Tampa is my Vegas of the East. They were sitting there so comfortably, no issues, didn't care who they played, except this one.
Yeah.
That last minute flip, I think they're like, are you fucking kidding me? Because I do still believe that Florida is the best team in the East, and that this is the one that I'm like, they are not going to be rattled by this at all.
Yeah.
It's going to be a unbelievable Russian face-off in net. I think Vasi is going to Vasi, but I think Bob looks good. I think Florida is healthy, and I'm not too rattled about it.
Well, Dan, it's crazy because Florida is deep. They run deep lines. They had a great deadline acquisition. They have a phenomenal goalie. They are pissed about last year, and they know what it takes to make a run. Tampa is deep, had a great deadline acquisition, have a phenomenal goalie, are pissed about last year, and know what it takes to go on a deep run.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like that is the carbon copy. Everything you want in a playoff team. And I have kind of been on the fence. You guys and a lot of the followers have been ripping the playoff format. Chiclet's ripping the playoff format. I don't love it, but I go back and forth on it.
I fucking hate
I know. This is the matchup that bums me out with the most of the playoff format. Because I'm like,
it's a
these
joke,
are
dude.
two juggernaut teams.
It's an
in my
absolute
opinion.
joke.
Someone's going home right now.
Yeah.
Let me give you a little rundown on this season. Florida won 3-2, then kicked the shit out of Tampa 9-2, and then Tampa did beat them 5-3 in mid-March, so not that long ago. I almost went 7 here just because I think the Panthers home ice might help, but no one's traveling a lot here, so it doesn't matter that much. Is there a reason you went 6? Do you just think they're that much better?
To me, it just feels like the Toronto-Tampa series last year, where it's like Tampa. I don't mean to compare Toronto and Florida, but I do think Florida is better, and I don't think Florida's flappable.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think every game is going to be pretty close and pretty good, and I just think Florida's going to edge them more often than not. And when I say I don't think they're flappable, there are those games when you're going punch for punch. There are those games where you lose, whether it be home ice or not, because you're like, fuck, this is going to go back and forth, isn't it? And I don't think Florida's going to get caught up in that. I think they're just going to be like, nope, we're just going to win.
I think that's right. I envision it like 2-2 going into Game 5 in Florida or in Sunrise.
Sure.
Panthers win Game 5 and then just end up steal Game 6. But I think the beginning is going to be blow for blow, just like you said.
Yep.
And if I'm wrong about that, you cannot in this series. You cannot be the team that isn't awake to start the playoffs.
Yeah.
Coming into this one.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh shit, we're down 3-1, I'm like, then you are out, dude, and you have lost now.
Yeah.
I guess on the other side of that argument, both of these teams are capable of coming back in a series, but I just think it's too much firepower to get in a big hole here.
No doubt. And it's funny because I just said I think Tampa would beat every other team. If you're New York Rangers and Carolina, you are praying to God that Tampa wins.
Yes.
And that's so contradictory to what I just said. But
dude,
Florida
getting
beats
the
every
Panthers
team as
out
well. I just
early-
think it'd be like if they can get knocked out and you're one of these other top teams in the East, even though I just said I think Tampa beats them, they don't think Tampa beats them.
Because Tampa's a bit older. Like you said earlier, Tampa going on a long run, which they can do. They have the skill. Is just harder on that core than the Panthers going on a long run.
Yeah.
But yes, the rest of the East rejoices at certainly a Panthers loss and probably a Bolts loss too. That's a massive matchup. Okay, next one in the Atlantic. What I wanted all year. Didn't think it was going to happen. Been salivating for it all year. Bruins, Leafs, round 20, round 3, really. But like,
seriously.
you know, I just got to think what I want to say. Okay. Fuck. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Are you actually ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Bees
Bruins
in
in
7.
5.
Wow. You fucking pervert, dude. You sick, disgusting pervert.
All right, Dan, let me tell you this, dude. This, when on paper, I was like, fuck, that's going to be a great series. We've been talking about the Leafs getting slept on. No one's talking about the Leafs. Matthews going to score 70 tonight, I hope, so badly. They got Matthews going, Nylander going, Marner going, big seasons from those guys. Even Bert's waking up. You know, lot of scoring there. You know, a lot of danger there.
Too. They, those guys are starting to buzz.
I'll get you know the head-to-head this year.
That's what I wanted you to get into. Right?
Bees win at home 3-2 in a shootout. Bees win away 4-3 in overtime. Bees win at home 4-1. Bees win away 4-1. Yeah. Honestly, I don't love
you never
the 4-0. I wish Toronto got a few, because now it's just like normally any other time I'm like, dude, you got to split those. If you win, it's hard to win fucking 8. It's hard to go 8 wins against a team in one season.
Yeah.
That would normally be my take. Normally. But the Bees are just so in the Leafs' head potentially that I'm like, of any two matchups that could go so one-sided, I don't want to be Toronto in this one, where you're like, well, they've really had our number, but this is the moment. I'm like, we've been saying that for 5 years. So I actually think the Bees just could run train on them. And similar deal, if they get up, it could be an issue. I'm about to let you go. All I'll say is this: the Bees rely so heavily on Pasta. He's got 109 points. Marshy's got 67 or something. Every time the Bees run into trouble in the playoffs, it's because someone shuts down Pasta. If there's a top D man or a top D pairing that just eats the Bruins, they can match up in the playoffs, especially on those home games, and you're eating that first line and really neutralizing Pasta, the Bees run into trouble. I don't personally believe that the Toronto Maple Leafs have that player or that pairing that can slow them down. You go.
Okay. First, I just want to, I know I talked about this recently on one of the podcasts, but David Pastrnak in 77 games in the playoffs has 35 goals and 44 assists and a plus-minus of 2. So no one shuts down Pasta.
Yep.
And I was the first to complain last year. He had 5 goals and 0 assists in 7 games last year. And I was like, I need more from him there. And that's not really fair. You're two goals below a point per game, but it was the assist thing. I was like, he's such an even guy.
Yep.
That I was like, him being 5 and 0 is part of the reason.
Yeah.
But that's part of, hey, boys on the Bruins, you got to put the fucking puck in the net. The season matchup, I think, is very telling. I think it's telling of the stat we pulled out last episode of the Leafs against the best teams in the league are not that great. What were they, 9th or something?
I'll find that.
Yeah, not very high. Boston is the best in the league against.
No, they were sick, dude. Remember?
No, are you sure? I
Yeah,
don't think that's right.
The Leafs, number 1 against best teams in the league, Boston Bruins, 68.6 win percentage. Number 2, Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, it is the Leafs too. Okay, wow, yeah, okay. So that's right. That
and
was the surprising.
they're right behind each other in worst. They're 1-2, 13-14.
Yeah,
best worst.
So insane matchup in that regard.
Yep.
Their season series, I think it is telling of just Boston just does seem to have the mental and physical edge, which is so funny because everyone strokes off Revo and Domi and Bert and stuff. But dude, Bert's heart isn't in it against the Bruins.
Yeah, Bert might put one in his own net.
In the physical sense. Yeah. Like, I think he's just like, I had fun there and I like the boys.
I hope he comes back.
But Bert's such a competitor and such a good player, and how fucking good was he in the playoffs last year?
Mm-hmm.
I think this goes 7 because I misspoke there, but -1. But like, the Leafs are good against good teams. Boston is the best against good teams. These are 2 very solid teams with an insane history. Toronto got the monkey off the back last year. Maybe that helps them go like, all right, fuck it. But
breathe a little bit.
Boston is a boogeyman, so who knows? I just think these are 2 insanely good teams. Matthews is playing out of his fucking mind. I don't think it's going to be easy. I do think it's just going to be blow for blow. I think Boston is a bit better, though.
Yep.
This is not a hot take. This is not some, grand statement here. I think Boston has the better goaltending.
Oh, bro.
Don't bro me, because you look at Sammy's last 20 or so games of the season, it's better than both Sway and Ullmark, I bet.
Yep. Yeah, the form I'll give you.
Hold on. Unfortunately, these 2 Boston goaltenders, who in my opinion have been I mean, if you want to talk tandem,
Best
they're
in the league.
far and away the best in the league for the last 2 straight years. And I think individually they are both top 5 for both the last 2 years. They have not been good in playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
One has been tough sledding 2 years ago and then an injury last year, and the other has been he didn't play.
I was going to say no NA, not an incomplete.
So the success of the Boston Bruins this year in the again, this is not a, oh my God, groundbreaking take. This is fucking obvious. I do just like to stress it. The success of the Boston Bruins in this series and these playoffs, in my opinion, is 100% on if whoever plays or if both of them play, if they show up. And I don't mean like you got to play pretty. No, you have to play how well they play all season.
Yep.
And if they don't even, like if they do 80%, they will lose. They need to fucking step up and perform. And I know Sway wants it because Sway is a fucking sick man. He's so good and he has such a good mentality. And if he's given the chance, he's going to take it. I think he took it in that Game 7 last year. I thought he played fucking amazing. God. And if he gets a full series, he's going to play fucking amazing. And I know Olmark wants it because Olmark was being shopped around. That pisses him off. He wants to show people that he is worth keeping. And I think this is how you do it. So I think both of those guys have great mentality and are great competitors and want to, shut anyone up. Not that there's a lot of talk about, like, can you guys perform? But they want to leave no fucking doubt. And that is completely everything in this series.
Leafs scored 7 goals across 4 games against the Bees this year. That's why they were 0-4. I think if the Bees goalies get 100%, like you're saying, it is 5. And I think if they give 80%, I think it's 7.
I agree. If Sway and God, I have no fucking clue what they're gonna do.
I know.
And truly, I have no clue.
Yep.
And what's crazy is whatever decision they make is gonna piss me off.
Yeah, it's not true.
Honestly, I think unless they go, we're going with Swayman no matter what.
Last thing I'll say, we're moving on. Bees PK was a little Jekyll and Hyde. We finished like top third of the league, but the Leafs PK 76%, very bad, one of the worst in the league, and that'll bite you.
It'll kill you.
Like it's hot. Next series, moving to the Met, Rangers versus the Capitals. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, I'm ready. 3, 2, 1.
Rangers in
4.
6.
Sweep, dude.
I want it. I want to pick it.
Sweep.
They split the series.
And Dan, the Caps won 4-0 in Washington. The Rags won 5-1 in New York. Caps won 3-2 in Washington. Rags won 2-1 in New York. So they really protected home ice.
Yep, very even.
Yep.
To me, I think the Caps are going to steal a couple because of Lindgren. You start Lindgren, and that's fucking obvious. I think he's just so hot right now. And this Rangers team, they're cockroaches.
Yep.
I don't think they're completely unflappable, but they're more unflappable than they've been in a decade.
Yep.
And I love that about them. I do think they're going to get into a game or two here where Lindgren's playing great and the Caps are just frustrating them, and they might lose a couple just because they're like, oh, fuck. And then they're going to tighten up and they're going to take care of business. But I've said it a million times, and Caps fans, Islanders fans, don't take this personally. I love so many players on both those teams, great fan bases. I just wanted Detroit to get in because I think they're more exciting. They haven't been in the playoffs for longer than those two teams. And I wanted Pitt because the Crosby run was just so exciting.
Sick, yeah.
And I say all that as to say, even though I wanted those other teams, I think Washington could be fun here. Like playoff Ovi, playoff Oshie.
Yeah.
Those are different beasts.
Oh, my God.
Got news. Those two guys have infinitely more cups than this Rangers team. So, like, it's like...
Bang!
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I just think you can't discredit the experience those guys have, the veteran leadership they have, and I think Lindgren is hot, and I think they'll get a couple.
Here's why I have the sweep. I almost said 4, but here's why I'm going sweep. The Rangers special teams is very good. Finished 3rd in the league in power play, 3rd in the league in penalty kill. The Caps penalty kill was very bad. So again, similar to what I just said about the Bees, I think there's Kreider scores 5 power play goals this series alone.
Seriously.
So boom, that's a huge hole to climb out of. Also, I think depending on what you get from that I'm going Zeba, dude. I know Laz is chirping. I'm going Zeba. That's my thing. So that's what's happening.
Good nickname.
What you're getting,
Shut up.
what you're getting from that Zeba Kreider line remains to be seen. Obviously, there was a lot of New York complaints about the 5-on-5 scoring or whatever, but they've been dogs in the playoffs before. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they snap into it and are really producing in the playoffs again. And then, of course, you've got 49 from Breadman, fucking 28 from Laffy, 27 from Trocheck.
I think so.
On the second line. You know, when's the last time this fucking Rangers team hasn't had that kind of second line scoring in fucking forever. And I'll even throw a bone to the Capo crowd. That's like his grind on the third line. I forget their record, but it's like they're 1 billion and
for Trocheck.
yeah, they're 40-10 with him in and 10-10 with him out, whatever it is. But you know what I'm saying? Like that kind of grit when you're rolling the bottom six is super helpful in the playoffs. Okay. Also, the Caps, I said this and you found the stat, are like the 4th least scoring team in the league. Only ahead of the 3 worst teams I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Shesty's playing great right now. The Rangers are playing good team defense right now. I just literally don't see how the Caps score enough. I do think Lindgren will play well. I just don't see how the Caps can score enough to win any games here. And even in the game, or maybe 2, but call it 1 game where you're right, Lindgren's playing great and they've got a lead. They're up a goal. This Rangers team is just going to tie it with 30 seconds left with the goalie pulled and then win. That's why I think they're going to sweep, because there's going to be 1 or 2 games where they probably should have lost in this series, and they will just rip victory from the jaws of fucking defeat against this Capitals team who, you know, credit to them, but like snuck in here. And this is a dream matchup if I'm the Rangers.
I need for this team, this Rangers team and their fans, I need in the first 2 games them to win like 6-5.
Yeah.
Because it will just show that they're gonna do what they've been doing all season through the playoffs and win the Stanley
Cup. Die.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
If they in the first 2 games, if they win a game with like a 1-2 goal differential and 5 or 6 goals, I'm like, oh, you're winning the cup.
And don't forget they puked up their first 2 home games after being up 2-0 against the Devils last year.
Yeah.
To me, no way they don't win both at MSG. And then it will be, can the Caps protect home ice? And I just think if the Rags steal game 3 because they're fucking invincible, then Vince Carter to this bitch, dude.
Totally. Like I said, I want it. I want it. I've been so cocky about the Rangers for the last few months, and I'm going to take some of the notes from the Rangers fans who have embraced me saying stop touching the money.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here and get cocky and say a sweep. I'm saying 6 out of respect for the Caps, their veterans, and their hot run here to get in.
Yep.
But I think it's going to be 6, and I think it's going to be a not sweaty 6.
Okay. Final series.
Ready.
Carolina Hurricanes versus the New York Islanders.
Ready.
You got it?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Canes in
5. Fuck, I almost went sweep. Chalky brackets for the boys in the East.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I hate calling it chalky when you pick like the 2 over the 3. That's why it's stupid. Like,
Yeah.
That's not, I don't think that's chalk. Like, that's dog shit. Also, when you look at the roster of like Boston, Toronto's roster is way fucking better. So,
Yeah,
like,
right.
What are we talking about?
All right, let me give you the head-to-head, because this is interesting. I almost went Canes in 4, but head-to-head, Canes won 4-3 in overtime in New York.
Yep.
Islanders won 5-4 in overtime in Carolina. Islanders won 5-4 in Carolina again. Canes won 4-1 in New York in March. Yeah. Neither team has won a home game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's interesting. You know, you got the Islanders did nothing.
Yep.
Canes did a lot. They got Svechny. They got Gensel. They got Freddie in net again. They've got an insane D line. I just think, check me on this, or at least in the East, there are 2 teams with a minus goal differential in the playoffs. It's Washington and
we picked them both to get swept,
it's Washington and the Islanders. And Islanders, it's 7-0-2 in their last 9 or something like that to get into the playoffs. Great, good for you. I just don't think I don't think they can even sniff this Carolina team.
I agree. The Gensel had 30, Jarvie 33, Aho 30 something. So they got 3 guys there. Brock Nelson, Bo over 30, Palmieri 29.
Yeah,
so there's
great
reasonable scoring. Yeah, there's reasonable scoring on both sides.
Barzie's come back alive.
Yep. Yes. Yeah, I should have said that. Incredible season from Barzie. Truly, like we were on him all summer. And I thought he stepped up in a massive way.
Huge.
Like that's the player he is.
Absolutely.
Last year it was Islanders Canes last year, and I think I probably picked it to be 5 then 2.
Yeah.
And they got 6. I remember having the conversation of it was that we were having that same chat because it was Jets Knights.
Yeah.
And we were like, can Hellebuck steal some games there? Can Sorokin steal some games here? And that was the conversation. And they actually the Islanders bled that series out longer than I thought they were going to last year. They honestly feel better this year
Agreed.
right now than they did last year. But the reason I'm picking it for quicker is because I think the Canes are much better. I'll do it again, but sorry. The Canes PP, second in the league this year. The Canes PK, first in the league this year. Hard to defeat that special teams if they're going. Power plays can dry up in the playoffs, but if that's going, that's a hard one out. And for me, Dan, the biggest thing is the Sorokin had a bad year, had a bad year. Varlamov has been playing the majority of the games. He is undefeated in April, has not lost a game in April. His 2 best playoff runs in his career.
Which is straight up like, I mean, not.
That's why they're in.
Yeah, I was going to say, this. It's not the entire reason, but they're in the playoffs because of Varlamov's play.
Yep. So Varlamov is his 2 best playoff runs of his career were 1920, 2021 for this Islanders team. He knows he's been there. He can win games in the playoffs. I think he's playing fucking awesome, which is the only reason I didn't pick a fucking sweep because I do think the Canes are that much better. But I do think Varlamov takes fucking 1 from him somewhere. Maybe it's 2-0 in Carolina.
So you're starting Varlamov.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, I don't even fucking blink. Boom, Varlamov and net. He hasn't lost in a month.
That's so crazy, dude.
Dude, he's been dialed.
I'm not saying you're crazy. It is crazy that this Islanders team might come into playoffs and not fucking start Ilya Sorokin.
Completely
That
agree.
is so
Dude,
insane.
let me give you, and I know you know this, I'm just going to give it to you exactly, Sorokin's overall season stats this year. Because it was fucking wild. Here's his four years.
Yeah.
918 save percent, 918, 925, 924, 908, 217, 240, 234, 299. And I'm like, dude, I just don't know
I dubbed
that
him
he's given you enough this year to get that job.
Yeah. And especially riding the hot hand. Riding the hot hand is a very real thing.
Yep.
Varlamov certainly has the hot hand.
You saw the Penguins. I know they missed, but you saw the Penguins do it. I can't pronounce that.
Nedeljkovic got them to where they are as well.
And I think if they had made it, I think he would have started.
It's so
Don't
wild
you agree?
looking at the Met. Well, say that again.
I think if they had made it, he would have played game 1.
Sorry. Yeah. You look at the Met and the 3 teams that made a push here. 2 of them got in: Islanders, Caps, and Penguins. All 3 of them had a surprise goalie
starting
takeover.
backups. Insane.
Crazy.
Okay. That's the East, boys and girls. Run it down real quick. You have Cats in 6, Bees in 7, Bees in 5, Rags
6,
in 6, Rags in 4, Canes in 4, Canes in 5.
So we're completely aligned, which means that we are going to be so wrong.
And I'm hard pressed to think of a year where there were no upsets. And I know it's like 2-3 or whatever, but I'm just saying.
I mean, let's go over it. Last year, massive upset in Boston, Florida.
Yep.
It's hard to call Toronto Tampa an upset.
Was Tampa 2?
No, Tampa was the 3.
Okay,
so that was chalk.
Yep.
But people were like,
that counts
Tampa,
though.
Toronto,
That
you're going to
counts.
lose.
Yep.
But so not an upset there. Not an upset Carolina over Islanders. Not an upset chalk-wise with Jersey over Rangers. That was 2-3.
Fair. Yeah, but that felt like an upset.
So we only had 1 upset technically last year. What's interesting about this year is it feels like there might be a couple flip-flops. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like, that's how do you feel about the playoff seeding?
I know.
I fucking hate it.
It's going to be. There's some great ones in here. Especially the Atlantic. The Atlantic feels like 2 fucking bloodbaths.
Yeah. The Atlantic is insane. Met feels a little
round 2 Met though, Mike.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. Wild 2. Just to close, I can't believe that 4 metropolitan teams are in the playoffs.
Oh my God.
It is like so disappointing and shocking. Based on how things looked a month to a month and a half ago.
Yep, felt like a sure thing.
Yeah.
Felt like a sure thing. It was, well, I guess I picked 4 because I thought Pitt was getting in for sure, but it felt like a sure thing that
Detroit,
that it was going to be one of the Atlantic teams.
And it's just to say one more time, Detroit has more wins than the Islanders and more wins than the Capitals.
Yeah.
And they're not in the fucking playoffs.
Yep.
Someone explain that to me.
Unbelievable.
That 0-7 stretch from Detroit
Killer.
will haunt us all.
Dude, watching Dylan Larkin when Perron shot
scored.
went in and Dylan Larkin literally collapses to his knees and looks at this guy. He's so happy. And to have him not get in after that feeling of joy just destroyed me.
Dude, it destroyed you.
Yeah.
Like, I love him so much, and I want all the best things for him.
Yeah.
And I'm just so devastated about that.
All right, stay tuned for the Western Conference drop. Here are your East previews. Tell us if we're right. Tell us if we're wrong. Tell us if we're smart. Tell us if we're dumb.
Do all that.
Until then. Until next time.
That's my job.
Oh, shit.
It's okay. Until it's my job again.
Skate hard.